Bam, booyah, and hello. That's right. We're surprising people today. That's right. Um,
I'm a little early.
Tiny bit, but tiny bit. People are excited about that. I actually have people get here a little early. They're jazzed up to meet you. It is October. It is October, and it is. Like I said, I had to race to get you in here because you are about ready to go crazy for the next 5 or 6 weeks. Are you not?
We are already going crazy. I'm already mid crazy stride. I had 4 shows already happen. We're in the middle of a surprise trailer shoot, and then we also have something else going on behind the scenes. That's all happening right away.
Yeah, I'm not surprised by that, Frankie, because like I just know that the spooky season, the haunt season, from a good friend, Spooky Kisses. I got an
Shout out
education
to
from here.
Spooky Kisses.
Shout out to Spooky. Um,
Love
uh,
you.
she's doing this all year round too. It's going around talking to haunts, talking to the owners, the operators. Um, and it used to be my day. You're much younger than this, but back in my day, they used to get like a warehouse, maybe trick it out for 3 weeks, charge $5 at the door. You'd be in and out of the haunt in maybe about 10 minutes. There's Serbius was probably the only, or Serbius or Urbius was probably the only one that that was out there in doing major haunts. Like the major ones. But now, today, right now,
Everywhere you look, everywhere, everyone.
and they're not cheap. They're not run of the mills. There's some very very strong haunts out there. And speaking of spooky, Spooky just walked through the door. And All right, Spooky is here, and our friend Cheryl from Canada is here. Is your I hear myself backgrounding. Do you have your monitor? You have your monitor on the
Ooh,
sound?
how about, is that a little bit better?
Let's see, test 1 2. Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's see. Cheryl and our friend Anthony is here as well. He moved up to 2003. He's writing his memoirs. And Spooky says hello, and everybody's saying hello to everybody. Feel free to
Hello.
share us out. Feel free to share us out. We are a little early. So we're just gonna kick it around for a few minutes, and we'll get really going here about 8 o'clock or so.
Sounds good.
In about 12 minutes. Uh,
Yeah.
but we still, I mean, I think it's amazing that haunts have taken off the way they have. It really tells me, and I mentioned this yesterday in prepping for today's show. It it's always been like the last maybe 20 years or so. It always seems more and more that Halloween has become more of an adult a day than the kids. Back when I was a kid, it was all about the kids.
Yeah,
Oh
no,
my
that's because the younger generation now grew up and it's making
God.
it more immersive for everybody, you know?
And like the first time me and my wife we moved here to our house in 2004, and we had 190 kids the first time that we had a Halloween here. I was expecting that. Um, but that has been the high water point of how a trick or treating. Every year since then, it's gotten less and less and less. I mean, I think last year, I think we had maybe like 35 kids.
Ooh,
That's it.
damn.
That's all we
Yeah.
had. I mean, it was
They're all
just like,
going to haunts now instead.
yeah, yes, they're going to haunts, and haunts are becoming big business. I mean, it's no longer where you just go there and pay your $5. You're almost paying some of the prices for some of the haunts. It's almost sort of like you're almost paying almost like amusement park prices
Oh,
because you're
definitely.
getting that. You're getting that, right?
The entertainment value has skyrocketed since then too. The amount of effort that like just newbie actors put in compared to like, veteran actors back then. It's so crazy how things have shifted. I think the internet had a lot to do with that though. The knowledge is easily accessible for the younger kids now too.
back in the day, I was talking about how they rent out a warehouse for a month or whatever, and it was strictly volunteer run, and the costumes were, let's just be honest with each other. The costumes were pretty not, they were made from the heart, but
Yeah.
they weren't very good. As far as the scares go, the biggest scare I ever saw growing up was with me and my brother, he came over to visit, and we went to this house here in Michigan, and it has fog all over this warehouse. There was nobody there, Frankie. There was nobody there, and this is like a couple of days before Halloween. We
But the
thought there'd
effort
be
was there.
well, we thought there'd be people there, and so we went in there. We paid our $5, and we're going like, man, there's nobody here. It's Halloween. It's Halloween. Um, but we got in there. It was a huge smoke machine, and so I decided I want to see if I can get these guys. So I dropped off the walkway and hid. I got crouched really low down, and I crouched down because I knew they were going to have people come from behind and try to spook us. And
Hmm.
sure enough, I'm sitting there and I'm crouched down like a catcher in baseball. I'm looking up, and here, sure enough, there comes this guy. He's got his costume on and everything. He's walking behind my brother, my wife, and or her friend. And just about ready as he's about ready to go gets them, I come over and I get him. I go in there and go boo, and he jumped 6 feet to Sunday. And then he got mad at me because, well, not real mad, but he got mad because I outspooked him.
I'm sure he doesn't experience that a lot or as often as as you did.
Well, it's funny because I'm a pretty fluffy guy, and there's one thing I've always been able to maintain, and that is really being stealthy. And I can people are amazed at that when they don't see me coming. How do you move so quiet? You'd be surprised what you have to do when you have to do it.
Oh yeah,
um,
it's all about masking the entire presence, right?
right? Yeah, they had the smoke out there, so why not take advantage of it? Um, So, I mean, but still, but like, I think about this now after meeting Spooky and seeing her show and just
Spooky
seeing the,
kisses.
oh my God, just seeing the incredible haunts. And you know what I think the secret is for her show? I tell you, the
What is
secret
it?
is it honestly, it's because she has a big kid in her. She likes, she
Oh yeah.
does. You
Yep.
gotta, I mean, do you not have, I mean, I'm not sure how old you are, but do you not have to be a, a little bit of a kid to really pull off a good haunt?
You have to have that inner imagination, and people always tie that with being like childlike. So she must have some type of imagination going on in there to be afraid of all this, because you have to immerse yourself. You can't just walk through and be, because especially her, she travels to all these haunts. She knows that they're haunts, yet she's still terrified. So she immerses herself. So she has that imagination.
Yeah. Yeah, imagination is everything. It really is. I mean, I think that's really the crux of any good Halloween, any good Halloween haunt or haunted house or a haunt like in Brighton or I
Yeah.
like the haunt and they had in a ship. That was absolutely crazy. I'm going like that's insane. I mean to do a haunt in an old Navy ship was just or a freighter. I want to say it was an old Navy ship they had a haunt on that I saw, and
I
I'm
think
just
I saw
thinking
that too. Just the smells and just the atmosphere is crazy in general.
now what was it like for you growing up? Were you a traditional Halloween house? Your mom make you costume and send you out with your brothers and sisters, and you go out there for an hour and get as much loot as you could.
Yeah, so basically, so I'm an only child, so I kind of got a little spoiled with the costumes. I was allowed to dress up every year. Like, as far as I could remember, when I was like 2 years old, I was a clown. So I was already starting pretty young. My father and both my parents actually dressed up and did haunts for my elementary school. So we, like, they recruited all the parents for I don't know, some behind the scenes stage play, and my mom was like a head on a table, and my dad was this crazy hatchet man, and all the kids were terrified. And for
Yeah.
some reason, I was drawn to that. I was like dancing and putting on a mask and popping in and out of the stage when I wasn't supposed to. So I guess I had it in me. like back then. But my grandfather actually, he was obsessed with like old monster movies. He would glue like hair individually on his face because he loved the Wolfman so much. So
Yeah, but
in the
what? No,
family, I think.
obviously, the love of horror movies and horror books is part of the plan. The part of the design to become a good scare actor. So what did well, I guess the first thing I'll ask you is, what was the very first thing that ever scared you that had you going like, yeah, I'm not really happy about that.
Okay, the first memory that comes to mind was just being terrified of that old black and white. It was like it almost was like claymation. There was Medusa was involved in it. It was like some I forgot what movie, but I was terrified of Medusa and I wouldn't open my eyes. I remember being like burying my face in the pillows and my mom was like, "What's wrong?" And I was like, "I'm gonna turn into stone." Like I was just terrified for like hours. I wouldn't open up my eyes. So I think Medusa was one of the most terrifying things for me.
The first Medusa did you see, was it from Jason and the Argonauts, or was it Clash of the Titans?
I think it was the Argonauts one.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
a great one. Uh,
Yeah.
Ray Harryhausen, both sides. You can't lose for either one. Let's see. Spooky says Frankie is an amazing scare actor. He has won awards. And Spooky says, oh, okay. Let's see. She is having a little bit of technical challenges. Final Girl and Spooky is one and the same. Right. Wow, she's haunting us. She's haunting us.
Yep.
No, that's fine. The hang out underneath both ones.
Please, please.
Yeah, yeah. It makes the audience number look great.
Come on, make more.
Paper the room. Paper the room. Now that's something I'm sure that your haunt has no problem with. I'm sure every year that you have worked, I'm sure you have seen attendance, other than COVID. I'm sure you have seen audiences rise higher and higher and higher.
Even for COVID, I thought it was gonna like be a lot lower. We were pretty much functioning almost at a full level. It was pretty amazing for my mental health during those years because I was really nervous that we were gonna not be able to do anything, you know?
Um, yeah. How long were the haunts shut down during the pandemic? Were you guys shut down for
So
2 years, 3 years?
we weren't shut down at all. We went right into the next season. We skipped all the off-season shows because I think it happened in April. So we didn't do any of like the halfway to Halloween or like the any of those other like clown asylum shows. So we resumed right in I think late September, but everyone had to do masks. But we removed anything that could touch you. There was no hanging things, no draping things. Everything was modified, but we were allowed to run. So it was awesome.
Oh, that is very cool. That is
Yeah,
very cool.
yeah, and then now this year already for opening night, I feel like we've already had double anticipated. So I don't know how the rest of the season's gonna play out because now it's October and all the normies are gonna start coming. So
Now, when did you open? How long has it?
Friday
How
the
long?
13th.
Oh my gosh, you guys have been open all September.
Yep.
That's crazy. I thought you guys would open in October and then stay open a couple of weeks after in November. I expect you to
Me
just stay
too.
open after November.
Nope.
No, no. So what do you
Nope.
close in November?
So I think November 2nd is our blackout show.
So I had it reversed. I thought the overflow would happen in November, and you guys have been up since September. But you know what? I'm not really surprised by that. Looking back at it, I'm not surprised at that at all. Because every time, and this is gosh, I mean, you sit on YouTube, you see everything. You see everything at least once or twice, and every time that people always mention, schools returning, schools coming back in session, um, whether it be 4th of July, whether it be Halloween, Thanksgiving. Anytime you see the decor for those things go up, like, oh, I saw Christmas, I saw Christmas here, Christmas lights today. Everybody
Yeah.
goes, oh man, it's too, why so early? Why is it run? Halloween is safe to say Halloween is the one date that when people say I saw some Halloween stuff in July, everybody's happy about it.
The earlier the better.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They get fired up for that. You mentioned, oh, you mentioned Christmas, and people are like, "Man, that's way too early to be thinking about that." Uh,
Yeah,
uh,
and everyone forgets about Thanksgiving, so oh well.
let's see. Really? Oh, some. Well, it is Halloween. It is full of it is full of clowns. So welcome in, everybody. Yeah, everybody gets excited. Spooky. Yeah, I guess so. But so September 13th is your opening day. But tell us how long, as soon as your doors shut for the season, November 2nd, tell us how long it takes for you guys to start immediately for the next year.
Oh, well, Rich, the owner, Rich Gonsi, he's already preparing now for next year. We just had all new renovations done just before we opened. Like, there's half of the Brighton Asylum attraction has been completely redone, and it's in a flash. Like, I was in one day and all the old stuff was there. The next day there was a whole gap. The next day, all new sets. And they're high quality, top-notch sets, man. Like, it's crazy.
It is crazy because I mean, like I said, you go to the old warehouse, nothing changed. It'd be the same thing if you went from the first day to the last day. But haunts being a very competitive business now, uh, you really do have to be quick on your feet in order to keep moving. You can't afford to just sit there and do what you did last year, can you?
No, not at all. Even what you did on the Halloween season, and if you have off-season shows, people are going to expect those off-season shows to be different than, the month that just passed. So you constantly have to be in a state of, I don't know, changing flow, I guess.
Now, Spooky mentions it's all run by artists. Um, so 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 do you guys all get to sit down afterwards? And do you have like a big meeting like, okay, this is how our season went, this is how our season went, and let's get feedback on what worked and what didn't work? Does your owner involve everybody in the process?
So the owner is constantly telling us about things, constantly asking us about things. He's constantly asking customers about their feedback. We have like shout out to Donna. She's the survey lady outside, and people are always giving like a rating, and we take that very seriously. I feel like even after every show, like at the end of the night, if someone complained about a lighting or if someone complained about a pop out not being effective, Rich will do it that night, and for the next show, the following day, it'll be fixed. So he's very serious about people's feedback.
Now, how big is your haunt itself? Is it done by acreage, or is it done by building height, or a combination?
So so Rich has we used to just be one bottom floor because we're in like a warehouse style asylum. So the bottom floor was just what we had for the last like 7 years. We just expanded to the top floor now, so it allows us to house three attractions. So we have subculture on the bottom, which has our train and railway, and then Brighton Asylum on the bottom as well, with the whole big asylum portion. Then the top floor now houses the bleeding grounds. So and you have to walk upstairs and everything. So it's huge. I'm not sure the square feet. Rich, what's the measurements? But he would know.
Uh, uh, so let's go back a little bit. Let's go back a little bit to where you only kid, only child. So you got to see, you benefited from the costumes and the candy. And your folks were really into it. Your relatives were really into it. So before you got into costumes, um, you must have gotten to the movies? Like I said, must have gotten to the movies and the books beforehand. So what kind of books did you read growing up, or what kind of movies did you watch? And was there anything that you watched or read that inspired you to become a scare actor?
So it's like a hard question to pinpoint because I wasn't always involved in like the horror. After I was really young, I started doing martial arts. So I got really involved in like fantasy aspects. So I was really into like Power Rangers and like a lot of I don't know, theatrical action stuff. So then I slowly delved back into like Stephen King books. So I was really obsessed with It, the novel, for a long time. I watched the miniseries when I was about like 13 or 14, and Tim Curry is terrifying as Pennywise, but reading the book itself, when you have your own imagination, you can kind of, design Pennywise yourself, and it's just irking how he describes certain characters, even just like the standalone, uh, just even just like a random character is so creepy in all of his novels, but especially it. So I feel like it was a big inspiration for me.
Yeah, I think it was definitely one of the two. It and Randall Flagg were probably the two that I remember the most being, being the most like formidable. As far as evil goes in Stephen King's world. Um,
Yeah. The
uh,
tone, just the tone of everything is just so off. Like, it's creepy.
Yeah, it does. It gives you. Well, Salem Slot was that like that too. As far as it's one of the rare times where the movie actually outdid the book. And Salem Slot. Salem Slot was a great book, but the first time they did a miniseries on that, man, it was spooky. I mean, it was
The
scary.
soundtrack.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Yes. Let's see. Nightgore, hi, how are you? Greetings, greetings. Sounds and ambience. To For the Dark Frankie, it's Tyler from Fearworm. It's past your bedtime. Is Fearworm another haunt? That's a great name for a haunt.
Fearworm helps us with our marketing. Shout out to Tyler. He likes to hose me down with water when I'm bad.
Uh, yeah, that's so they help market it. All right, that's very cool. Let's see.
And they like to post pictures of me without my makeup on the social media, so now everyone is going to yell at me.
Right. Yeah. Unfortunately, we did let people know in advance that we had hoped that you would come and make up that your makeup team couldn't do it,
Yeah,
and
sorry. Just with
it's
work and
no problem.
everything. Yeah.
It's not a problem. I mean, we'll get you back sometime. Now that I know that now that I know you guys do. How many shows do you do during your off season?
So we skip January. We have two in December for Christmas. So we skip November as well. So we resume December, skip January. Then we have two in February for Valentine's Day. I think we're gonna do two in March. Uh, yeah, for St. Patty's, and then probably two in June for halfway to Halloween.
That's crazy. I've never heard of a haunt being open during off season.
And also, rumor has it is Brighton Asylum is on the East Coast Haunters Convention tour this year. So that's in April. So that's a whole other thing.
Oh my gosh, that's gonna be that's gonna be insanely fun. I'll
Yes.
go
I
back
get
to
to
the
meet
chat
all the
real
haunt
quick.
owners. Meet me. Come meet me.
Yes, come meet him. Come meet Frankie. Uh, our friend Frog is here, and he is doing. I'm doing well. I hope you're doing well. I know the East Coast has been popped with a lot of rain, and hopefully you're not being flooded out in Maryland. See, Cheryl says she's a Stephen King fan as well. Uh, his character descriptions are incredible. I agree. Yeah, he does. He does do that. May not be able to close a book all that well, but he can write great characters.
I agree.
Nightmare, Tyler, the sounds and ambience to the dark and your scary nipple. Uh oh, he is outing you big time here.
You got me. My straight jacket has a big rip in it, but we work with it now, so it kind of frames me a little.
And Rich from MetaLab Entertainment Group. Now, how do you mentally prepare before stepping into Frankie each night? Now, my question to you, I'm going to add one if I can, Rich, if you don't mind. Do you stay in just one character for the whole season, or do you have like four or five characters that you'll mix in? Like maybe Tuesday you'll be a vampire, Tuesday or Wednesday you'll be a vampire, or a ghoul. Do you rotate your costumes, or you just stick with the one throughout the opening?
So I used to have multiple characters. I think it was like 4 years ago was the last time that I used to play Otis from the House of a Thousand Corpses, and I used to play a Pennywise version with a big latex mask. But after I started doing my character Frankie and started getting bigger online and having a little bit more of like a following, I guess you could say, anytime I would play any other character, people would like pull me to the side and be like, "You are Frankie. You are not." I'd be like, "It's me. I'm Otis. Get to the side." And they'd be like, "You are Frankie," and it would just kill everything. So now I basically do Frankie with the straight jacket all year, every show. But I evolve that character, so I'm constantly in like a state of development. I'm constantly writing new things for Frankie. I'm trying to, push the envelope every time.
Now, how do they know that you're Frankie if you come out with a different costume? Hide your face, disguise your voice a little bit, and get out there on maybe work the top floor instead of the third floor. How or they just know.
I don't know, it must be the way I smell, or if I like have like Abercrombie cologne on or something, or they could tell by my hair because I would spray it all white and they would be like, "Yeah, it's just curly hair, it's Frankie."
We're gonna have to, we're gonna now see now Spooky's sitting there saying he's iconic. He's on t-shirts, he's on t-shirts and all that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it became its own beast. It kind of
yeah,
just took its own, and I just roll with it. I love it.
yeah. I guess you're Frankie for now, forever. I mean,
Yep.
especially once you start making some cash out of it, right? I mean,
Yeah,
that's
and
always
going
good.
back to Rich's question about how I get into character, um, it's a whole process. Like I like to use music a lot, and sit just by myself. I don't like to talk because a lot of haunts when you see on Spooky in general, like everyone, it's like a party. It's a big party atmosphere. Everyone's having a good time, but I kind of don't like to do that. I kind of like to really just treat it as therapy almost, so I isolate a lot. I don't really like to talk to too many people. So that really helps me. I'll isolate, play some really, really like heavy, because I'm into very heavy music, angry, yelling music, and that kind of just gets me into the right frame of mind to heckle people and to just be weird.
Okay. I mean, yeah, I mean that works. I mean, you want to have a little bit edge to your character, and I guess I heard I heard you. Oh, okay. That's a good question. And let me ask that question, Tom, before I answer mine. Tom came up with a great one. He says, "Do you know who
What's up,
Lon
Tom?
Chaney is? Do you know who Tom Lon Chaney is?
Come on, Cheney. Maybe I'm better with faces than names.
He played a lot of the Universal monsters.
Oh, okay.
I'm not how many he played. I think he God, I want to say so someone will help me out. Someone can help me out and find out how many characters he played Universal. Yeah, he was a classic. He played all the classic monsters. I think he played. I want to say he played Frankenstein. Um,
Okay.
yeah, I know Boris Karloff did the Mummy. Bela Lugosi did Dracula. Uh,
Monster of the Black Lagoon, or
I don't know if he did the monsters from the black. I don't know if he did creature from the Black Lagoon.
oh, creature, yeah.
Somebody will get on that for me because I know it, but I don't have that information right on the tip of or my tip. I guess I could look it up, but I don't want to do that right now. Um, okay, maybe I will. Let's see. Lon Chaney. I'll do it. That's right here. I just this. All right, Lon Chaney. Let's see how many creatures did you play? His son Lon Chaney Jr. also was an actor, and he also did creature features as well. So tell us about Frankie. What's the origins of Frankie? Why I look up Lon Chaney here?
All
Where
right.
did you get the where did you draw upon draw upon for Frankie?
So I think it's really, really creepy that you have an asylum with like patients and all that, but Frankie's not a patient. Frankie broke in and thinks that he's a patient. So I'm not really even in the system at Brighton Asylum. I kind of just like the way of life there and I use it to my advantage. I have my own group of people. I make people do things. I hide. No one can catch me. I'm always very mischievous. I'm I'm fun. Like if you interact with me in a fun way, I'm not going to be like aggressive towards you. I'm very, very friendly. But if you're going to be like a jerk or like someone who thinks they're really smart in line, I'm going to let you have it. And I'm just putting that out there.
Right. I mean, like the one word I heard you mention, the one thing I heard you mention before when you were talking about how normies, the normie people. I guess there's two kinds of people that do come to, they're the norm, the stands, so to speak, the FOMOs, they're into it right now because it's what everybody else is
Mhm.
doing. But then you got the hardcore dedicated fans that are going to be there. Um, let's see. Let's see. Phantom of the Opera. Oh, he died in 1930. Maybe that. Then his son did the Universal Monsters. Then I guess.
Keep it in the
Um,
family. All right.
yeah, yep.
Nice.
He was known for Phantom of the Opera. But his son must have did he must have did the Monsters then. Uh, so I mean, but yeah, I can understand. You got the normal people coming in, the ones that are there for the moment, and then you got the hardcore dedicated fans that are coming there in between the seasons, so to speak. They'll be there in March and June and July. Uh,
And
um,
you could tell just by how they come in past the like when they get scanned in by security, you could tell who are the diehard people and who have no idea where they are, why they're here, who dragged them along. You could tell right away.
uh, so, do any of the? I mean, is your haunt 18 and over? Because some of the effects and some of the creatures are really intense, and you don't want to, nobody wants to go behind and clean up an 8-year-old who pooped his pants, during the hayride. Um,
Yeah.
so
I
do
think
you
on
have?
the website it says 13 and up, like with parents' discretion or with parents like a company. We do have a lot of like mature themes. I mean, so I'm on the queue line outside and I roam in the house, so you'll find me everywhere. I This year I have like a shard of glass and I walk around with the glass and I cut my hand all night. My hand's just dripping blood, and there's children that take pictures with me. So I
Right.
mean, and when I see that, you have to kind of tailor the act on like, who's there. If there's a little girl who's like, "Hello," and I'm like, "Hi," I'm not gonna be like, "I'm gonna kill you while your parents watch" or whatever. Like you
Right.
have to, yeah. But then some people, there'll be some parents that'll be like, "Get my kid, he's being nasty tonight. Show him what it's like." So you don't really know what's gonna happen with the parents.
Now, what happens? Like once you get into Frankie, you try to stay in character throughout from the beginning to the end, and your coworkers respect that, and they don't bother you or help you break out of character.
For
Um,
the most
so
part, for the
for the
most
most
part, a
part,
lot of the newer like event staff, the people that don't dress up in costume, that do tickets and help with the games outside, they don't really understand that yet. Like I'll talk to them before the show, and I'll be like, "All right, guys," and then I'm in character, like, "What's up, Frankie?" They try to shake my hand, and I'll like do something crazy, and they'll flinch, like they're not expecting me to be in character or something, but they'll learn.
right? Yeah, you would think that before the show is over, and are there other actors with you that are also into their characters as much as you? I would think that they
Definitely.
are. I would think that they are.
Yeah, shout out to Joe Coma, Steven, Yasmin, Kristen, my whole Q Line crew, Alexa. We're always in character. Even when we go to the bathroom, we're talking lines back and forth in the stalls, and then we go back out.
That would actually be rather terrifying to try to take a leak and hear a Frankie next door,
Wash your hands.
scaring the shit out of me. It's like, I thought this was a safe place to go. You haven't watched very many movies yet, have you?
No,
Um,
exactly. You're paying for it.
that's right. Now, what is it like? If you don't mind me asking, on the owner doesn't mind me asking, but what is it? Is there like a price setting as far as for the haunt goes? Is there a set price for in season versus off season?
I think it's pretty much the same. I know Rich is doing really well with like bundling the haunts because we just opened like we bundled all three attractions together. I'm pretty sure it's like without Fast Pass, it's like $40 or $50, which is pretty good for three attractions in all because the runtime is like over an hour. So I believe it's almost like $55, something like that for all three.
See, that's what I see. I guess that, like I said before, I said it's comes to it's almost you're paying now for a good haunt, not a bad one, but a professional one.
Yeah.
You're paying amusement park prices because you're getting that quality of entertainment.
Yeah,
I
we
mean,
just
the only thing, the
expanded
only,
our entire midway outside too. Like Rich was sending us pictures. He just got these new carnival signs. It's above every like the haunt museum. We have like the hatchet throwing outside. We have like 5 escape rooms outside right next to Brighton. Everything is like in a long corridor. It's a whole immersive experience now out there too before you even enter. So it's he's doing big things.
wow, you guys have escape rooms. No, my gosh.
Yeah,
I have,
hour long ones, 20 minute ones, 5 minute ones.
oh, that's insane. That's crazy. Have you ever done an escape room other than your own?
So not at Brighton, and there's not supposed to be actors in escape rooms at Brighton, but sometimes in the middle of the night when people are in the escape rooms, I'll break in character and I'll help them figure out a puzzle, and I'm not supposed to be in there, and people are traumatized from that.
Oh, really? Because
Yeah.
Frankie came in and helped them out?
I'm just like, put this there, put that over there, take this key, put it over there.
Do it now!
Do it now, I'll kill
Get to the chopper!
you. Yeah, get to the job.
Yeah, you probably break a lot of ice if you popped off with that line. How old were you when you first started? Did you get into did you, and what haunts did you go to as a teenager? Did you go with a bunch of friends when you were younger, or was this something you came across by yourself?
Yeah, so me and my friends would always go to like Six Flags and Halloween Horror Nights and stuff like that growing up, basically. But before I worked at Brighton, we did there was a place in Saddlebrook, New Jersey. It was like a field, it was an outside field for a school. And there was a whole volunteer haunt that was going on. I didn't know what Brighton was at the time. And I think it rained the previous 3 years in a row for Halloween. So I was in like that weird, I need to do something. So I did a whole outside haunt. I didn't act as a pop out person. I was actually a guide that took people through like the things that everyone built. So that was probably my first taste of a little bit of Q line because I got to talk to people in character rather than a scare and then go and retreat. And I got to do that for like a full month. So that I think that was when I was 17. I just turned 31. It doesn't feel like I'm 31, but I just turned 31.
Now, Q line, is that like your collective?
Yeah, so Q line is any of the actors that are outside. We are photo ops. We heckle people. We keep them from thinking that they're wasting time in line.
Right, right, right.
Yeah.
Um, that doesn't happen at all, does it? Does it happen once in a while? Will someone come out there and say, "I wasn't really scared. Give me back my money." Whereas
So,
you know by the smell of them that they were scared because they left. They got some pounds in the pants, so to speak. So you know that
yeah.
they're. That's right. I said that.
It's true. It's true.
It is true.
It doesn't really happen. Like people don't really complain that it wasn't scary. Mostly, people will get into arguments with one of the Q line actors because their ego is too big. So we'll like say something and they'll take it like like we'll scare someone and they'll be like, "Why are you scaring me? Do you know where you are? Do you understand?" Like
Do you really have people ask that? Oh
yes,
my
people
god.
bring their children as well, and then you scare their children. They go, "Why are you scaring my child?"
Oh
Ma'am,
my.
this is not a Wendy's, ma'am.
Yeah. Yeah, this is
Yeah.
not a McDonald's. This is not a McDonald's play base
No,
or
no.
play space. Wow, that's insane. But that's people though. People are what
That's everywhere.
yeah.
Everywhere.
I just imagine. Now, have you had where someone has been scared so much that they've actually had an accident while in the haunt?
Oh, there's I think more than 10 times in my 5 years outside, someone has definitely soiled themselves. I think just opening night, we had to mop up something inside. So,
Honestly though, I think that's really the ultimate respect.
yeah.
When you make
You don't even
someone
need a
when you make
review. That is
someone
the review.
I mean when you scare somebody that bad that they had an accident, I think that is I think you reached the pinnacle of the peak right there. Um well, I mean, I guess some people say about people throwing up too, but I don't know. I think the other thing is more funnier.
I think it's both. It's all funny. Everything, anything coming out, it's funny.
Yeah, I guess you know what? Honestly, for this in this situation, well, are we evil for laughing? Are we? Are we?
There's a special type of person that is involved in this horror industry. So
I just like the idea of the thought of someone actually having a like you coming out there as Frankie and scared them so bad that they go in the corner and go like, holy shit, no
well,
kidding.
let's put it this way. We have porta potties outside
Mhm.
surrounding the queue. So when people go into the porta potties, I'll ask their friend what their names are. And just the other day, some girl's name was like Pamela or something, and I was crouched outside the porta potty, and she's coming out, and she turns, and I scream, "Pamela, did you wash your hands?" And she fell right back into the porta potty and stayed in there, and you just heard. I didn't know if she was crying or laughing, and everyone, all the customers are filming. They're all laughing, so they
Oh,
they liked it.
damn well what she was doing. You know she was crying in there.
Yeah.
Let's not pretend. We know you did your job excellently.
Nowhere is safe at Brighton Asylum, everybody. Just remember that.
Uh, let's see. Let me go back to the chat. Says I think it's harder. See Q line. The Q line is that a hard? Is that hard to work the Q line? I mean,
Yeah.
what kind of heckles do you do? What kind of heckles do you do? Like if people start wavering, like maybe not going in, you challenge them to get scared, or to brave it. You can make it through. What exactly do you do to fire up a crowd that maybe is maybe a large group that's maybe like, do we really want to do this or not? So how, like you said before, you're trying to get them to go in. So what are some of the things you do to get them go in?
So let's put it this way. First, like for Q line, like the number one rule is you're always on like a stage. So you can't reset yourself. So everyone is always looking at you. People are always filming. So you can't really, if you mess up, you have to really, really go with it. So when there's a group that is refusing to go in the house, I usually go behind them and I'm right, like I'll pretend to be one of their people. I'll be like, guys, come on, are we gonna go in or not, guys? Are we gonna go in? And then when they turn around, and they see me standing there with the knife, they usually just book it right into the haunt. That usually works.
Yeah, because you know why? Because everybody wants to be scared, right? I mean, they come all the way up there, and they really do. They just need to be pushed a little bit, but everybody
Yeah.
likes it. I,
People
I,
cry. They'll be like, I don't want to do this. They'll have panic attacks. All ages, from little kids to like grown men will like I've seen grown men cry like I don't want to do this. And I'll say, if you go in, you're gonna have fun. Nine
yeah,
out of 10, 9.5 out of 10 times, people come out and they're laughing. They're like, "Thank you so much. This was so good." So you just have to push yourself just a little bit.
right, right. I mean, everybody loves a good horror. Everybody likes a good scare. I mean, it's the excitement of it. It's trying to spot the it's trying like trying to spot the effect before it comes at you. Like
Yeah, being a
was
little
it?
uncomfortable is good. It's healthy. Don't shy from it.
Yeah, I remember we went to just a house during Halloween, and we went to this big house, and they had it all tricked out. Oh, it was cool as hell. They were all in makeup and everything, and
Beautiful.
we go to me and my wife go onto the front porch because they were giving away loot, and but as I'm climbing up the stairs, I catch the guy. He moves. He's wrapped. He's like a mummy, but I see him move out of my corner of my eye, but I don't say a word. I'm like, okay, and I know what he's gonna do, and I'm just going, let's get some candy. And sure shit enough, he comes over and he scares the hell out of my wife. And the first thing I could do was just laugh, and he laughed too because he knew that I knew that he was, he what he's gonna do.
We
And but we both,
appreciate the setups. People
yeah,
that set up other people, we like that.
that's gotta be a lot of fun. I mean, I would think that and obviously I take it that more adults. Again, let's go back to that. More adults probably come to these haunts than kids do.
Yeah, now more than ever, definitely. The last 5 years, we've seen like an uptick in like the 18 or older crowd, just or even the 30 to 40 age group is just coming out in droves now.
Your friend Victoria or Tori says hello, Frankie.
Hello, Victoria Tori.
Is this part of are some of these folks that are coming in tonight? Are these part of your crew of your haunt crew? Or are they
I think
fans of
so.
yours?
I
All
think
right,
they are my haunt crew and some fans. And
okay.
Spooky Kisses.
It's Spooky. Shout out to Spooky.
Shout
Never,
out.
never,
We
never
love
miss
you.
never miss a chance to shout out Spooky.
Yeah, she
Um,
showed me so much love when I met her, and I loved like doing that whole thing. And she let me do the interview, and she just showered me with spooky love, and we appreciate her a lot.
well, let's talk. I want to talk a little bit. Let's shout out your owner a little bit.
Yeah,
Tell us
and
a little
Rich
bit.
Gonzi, man. Oh
Yeah,
my
let's talk
God.
about him. So how long has he been running the haunt, Frankie? Was he there when you first started?
Yeah, so I'm coming up on my ninth year. I think he's been doing it for 15 or 13 to 15 around there. It started off as an outside, a whole other place, and then he merged and did some other thing, and then it just became Brighton, and he got the warehouse.
So, oh yeah, yeah, we gotta mention this. We have a small town named Brighton in where I live at. It's about 15 miles away. But your Brighton, where is your Brighton at?
So it's Bergen County, New Jersey. It's on Clifton, New Jersey, basically Clifton / Passaic, New Jersey.
So you got in your. So Rich has been running has been running the haunt for 15 years. What was it like for the first time that you met him? Did you have to like audition for him, like show that you
Yes.
could do the makeup and you could do the haunt? I mean, what was that
So
like?
we
What was that like as a 17-year-old?
It's nerve-wracking. It's horrifying. I didn't really know what to expect. It was the first time I had to audition for something outside of like a school play, Like it's like audition, what do you mean? Like I just want to scare people. But the audition process is so warranted. It's so needed in like this day and age because you could really see how people react under pressure. My first time I met two really good people, Sarah and her brother DJ. DJ, rest in peace. But they made me feel so comfortable. They were like they put me in a few scenes, so they changed, different rooms. Like one was like a doll room, one was a doctor's office, the other one was, let's say, like a padded cell room. And they throw you in there, no costume, no makeup. You're just completely bare. And they walk through us customers, and it's your job to do something in your own clothes. And I feel like that it's uncomfortable, like I said before, but uncomfortable is good because once you get over, oh, I could scare somebody looking like this, or I could feel like I'm in character without a costume on. Imagine what it's like when you put the costume on. It's like
Right.
10 times more powerful.
Now, at that time that you've been doing it, had you already done other haunts beforehand? And like you'd done smaller ones, you said, I'm going to go, I'm in the minor leagues, but now I'm going to go to the majors and I'm going to try out for Rich's haunt. Was it, had
Brighton
you
was
ever?
my first professional haunt that I ever tried out for. The year prior to that, I was just in the outside one that got rained out. So it was just a do it yourself. Brighton was my first official, like, whoa, this place is beautiful.
Uh, so what was it like meeting some? I mean, he's sitting there, he's watching you. So what was it like when he said you made the cut? You're gonna we're gonna go ahead and use you for this season. Then afterwards, we'll see how we'll come visit you after the season's over. See how it worked out for us. You as well as them. Um, so what was did you already know how to do your makeup beforehand and costumes beforehand? Were you responsible for bringing that to the party, or did you show up and they put you in costume?
So, I mean, it's always appreciated and welcomed if the actors can do their own makeup. I never did my own makeup for Brighton. I have a little bit of makeup experience. I feel like at this point in my career now, I could probably pull off like my traditional Frankie look if I really had the time. But we all have makeup artists. When I auditioned, it was just, they supplied the costume and the makeup. We just brought the personality and the passion. But for Rich, I just remember it was like a 6 hour long day. Like it became such a grand thing. It was an audition, but it was also a tour of the place, and then it was also like half training and meeting the veterans that were there for like 5 years already. So it was a whole a whole conglomeration of that in one day. And when I went home, I do think Rich told us on that day that we all made it. I don't know if he does it the same day now. I think you actually get a call now to make it more official. But after I went home, I remember driving home and just being like on this high, like, oh my God, like I'm gonna be like a professional haunted house actor. Like people are gonna like pay money to come get scared by me and to have me create like this world. It blew my mind. It still blows my mind when I think about like where I am now too. So
Yeah, it's funny. There's another aspect of this that we've talked about here and we've had on the show too, and that's cosplayers. Cosplayers when cosplaying first started out, it was an oddity. You go to conventions and you see like 5 or 6 people dressed up as a character, and you see them, but you wouldn't think very much of it. But as cosplaying grew, very much like haunts did, pretty soon pretty soon those cosplayers were starting to become rather in demand. They're starting to become rather popular. Now they had,
definitely.
now they had contests, they had workshops, and there was a lot of them. Conventioneers would reach out to certain cosplayers and ask them to come to their event, like, come on in, as our guest. We're going to give you some food. We're going to give you, some drinks. Come on in and walk around, and you can just see the growth of cosplaying. Um, and I think that's the same thing with haunts. The more popular it gets, the more established you get. Now you're like, I'm blown away the fact that you get to sell T-shirts. You
That
get you
blows
got you got a,
blows
you
my
got a
mind
merch.
too.
Yeah, you got a merch line.
Yeah.
Uh, there is the king. I got to tell you right now, the king of spooktaculars just walked through the door. Hobbs Horror. October belongs to Hobbs Horror.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. What's going on, Hobbs? Um, yeah, and Spooky just said that you're on T-shirts. On the T-shirt. That is so cool. Now, whose idea was that to do the T-shirt? Was that your owner's? He came up to you and said, "Listen, you're popular. We get the because everybody gets the feedback. Like you said, you had the survey girl out there, like what did you like about coming to the show? And then you got people saying, well, we liked Frankie. So he's got a commodity here in you. He says, and I could use this to help boost up business. Um, and without getting into detail, um, when did you go from being a regular haunter to a paid actor? Don't tell me any details about that, but just tell me, when did you go from being an amateur to a professional?
Well, I want to say, so we all get paid at Brighton. Brighton is a paying gig for everybody, no matter like what level you are, which is really cool because I know a lot of other
Yeah,
haunts don't pay.
no,
Um, but
no.
I want to say 3 years ago is when it really started ramping up. They never told me that I'm going to be on a T-shirt. I was there one day and I go to the gift shop and Rich, the owner, comes, or Rich and Connor. Shout out to Connor. Connor, I love you. He's basically our
Connor.
behind the scenes director. He places everybody. He's constantly taking people's calls. People, if they call out or if they have a question, they're constantly hitting Connor up. He's the guy that does everything behind the scenes. So love you, Connor. But yeah, no. So he came up with the T-shirt in his hand while I was getting makeup done, and I'm like in the chair, and he's just like, "Hey, buddy, look at this." And him and Rich show me the T-shirt. I'm like, "What is this?" And they're like, "We're gonna sell this. What do you mean? What is this?" I thought it was just for me. Like they were just handing me that. I'm like, "What?" So then we go downstairs. Now there's a T-shirt with me and our nurse on it. There's a T-shirt with just me on it. There's Brighton Asylum buttons. There's lanyards. There's all this stuff in this gift shop that he just miraculously built. I'm like, what the hell is going on?
Wow, that's cool as hell. What was it like the first time you saw your face staring back at you when someone else bought a shirt?
The first time someone bought a shirt, they made me sign it, so it actually worked out both ways. That was the first memory for the shirt and first memory of an autograph ever. it was so weird because my original shirt has my old Frankie character look on it, so I have boils on one side of my face, like I was badly burned, and it's just all boils and a weird like colored eye. My new look currently is a bunch of cuts, like I drained the boils, so it's a bunch of like scarring. So one shirt has my new look, the other shirt has the old look, and I'm signing the old look shirt kind of like it's like an end of an era, like it's like a time capsule version. I'm like, oh my god, this is like classic Frankie. Like, what the heck's going on?
And Spooky saying that told you he's a rock star. That's awesome. So it's pretty much safe to say, based on what Spooky is saying, and I trust your experience, that that you are a major hit at Brighton. Um, that's amazing. I think it's cool as hell.
We
Why
all
and
work
why and why
extremely
and why?
hard there. I love everybody at Brighton. I just do it because I love it, and I
Yeah.
apparently got love back, and it just went from there, you know?
Hey, brother Max,
What's
welcome
up?
in. Welcome in.
What's up? What's up?
Yeah, that's cool as hell. Because why not? Like I've seen that happen. Like again, going this just a throwback real quick. I've seen that happen with cosplayers too, where they have risen so much that they are now some of the stars of the show. They're so popular with what they do. Um,
There's a lot of overlap, I feel like, between the cosplay community and the haunting community. I see a lot of cosplayers in line at Brighton when they're waiting, you know?
yeah, those are going to be the ones harder to scare, though. What is the hardest person to scare? I mean, do you know like if he saw something like, okay, I'll be honest with me. I mean, I probably wouldn't get scared very much. I live with a damn cheetah, so it doesn't really scare me too much. But saying that, but what? How do you spot someone who's I already said I asked you before about getting them inside there, but you're always going to have that 1% that are just like, yeah, I'm not really, I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know if I'm gonna get. I know I come out of there. I'm not really scared. How do you know? How do you know? Do you try to reach out to people who have not been scared and ask them, like, what could we have done better? Is that part of the survey person's job? Like, what could we have done better to scare you?
Yeah, the survey person kind of helps cover that too. And then Rich might even come outside and talk to the group occasionally to get some like instant feedback. Um, Basically, there's a bunch of so if someone isn't afraid, like there's a bunch of different ways to scare somebody, let's say. So, painting a picture, like a military-esque guy walking, in his military uniform.
Right.
He might not be afraid of something that I say, like any psychological scare. Like if I'm in the corner cutting my hand, I'm like, I'll lend you a hand. Hold on, give me like a couple seconds. Like I don't think he's gonna be like, whoa, buddy. I feel like so that type of person, you're probably going to want to do some sudden movements or some type of sound scare
Right.
or something to so there's always a way to play on somebody. And then if somebody is just a freaking serial killer and they're crazy, I mean, you have to entertain them. If they're not going to be afraid of something screwed up that you say, if they're not going to be afraid of a noise, you got to be like, so how many dead bodies have you seen tonight? Like, what's your favorite part of it? And you just entertain them instead.
Have you ever had to break out a character to comfort a young child that's been scared? You ever break character and help them out?
So I try my hardest never to break. I will bend my character. I will bend it to the tipping point, but I'll never be like, I'm fake. I'll be like, if I'm cutting my hand and a kid is crying, I'll be like, it's okay. This is just gonna heal in a couple of hours. It'll be fine.
Right.
I I want to create the illusion because when you're young, especially, like, you're gonna think about, "Oh my god, like, that place was crazy, like, that
Yeah.
felt real." I wanna be like that memory for somebody, like, "That was so
You want
crazy,
them to
he
come
did
back.
not break." Yeah.
You want them to come. You want them to come back. You don't want them to be so traumatized by it that they don't come back.
Yeah.
And the parents are like, wow, this is you don't want to do that. And once in a while, I'm asking you that because I remember seeing on a wrestling where one character is in character, but the little boy got terribly scared and upset, and he had to break character and went over there and talked to the child and comforted him. And I was thinking sometimes that happens in haunts too.
Oh yeah.
They get they're so excited to be there, but then once they're there, then they start seeing it. Then sometimes they get terrified, and I think there's room to go from being an evil creature to maybe a bit of an anti-hero, so to speak. And so they're.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, you
And
don't
still
have to
talking
give
to them
away the
without
full
breaking.
illusion, but you could step back with a crazy, I'm gonna, aggressive, adamant, like predator, like you're a predator stalking people. Like you don't have to do that to everybody.
Right. I like that. I like that answer a lot. I appreciate it, Frankie. That's a really refreshing answer because a lot of people would have just been they wouldn't even have thought about that question. They wouldn't even have thought about what they have done or would have done. Um, Now here's some other aspects of the business that are probably very much like live music business. Um, you got competitors, don't you?
Oh yeah.
So let's talk about competitors a little bit. So, how many haunts are going on around your area, say within a 20 square mile radius?
20 mile, I feel like there's not too many in a 20 mile. But because we're in the tri-state area of Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and whatever, I'm blanking out on the other one. New York, obviously. So like the commute anywhere from an hour to 2 hours, you could reach Field of Screams, 13th Hour, us, Penhurst. It's just like you could reach so many of us in just that area. And they are technically our competitors. I mean, I love watching them. I can't really visit them during the season because I'm always at Brighton, but I'll constantly like their stuff. I'll constantly like comment on their YouTube videos or TikToks. Like I enjoy because competition is healthy. And if there was no competition, I mean, people would get sick and tired of one place. It's good to have people, we're constantly all going to the top and we're all lifting each other in a sense.
Is it like that though, or do you find some people, especially on the ownership level, because it's human nature, believe me on that. Um, but how do you handle people who want to come over and maybe steal your ideas? Has another haunt ever come up to you and offered you more money, so to speak, to come over and work for them?
Yes, yes. I've had a couple of offers before. I It's weird. It's weird because I love the actors that are at these other haunts. It's just, the business aspect and the management is different. It gets in the way of a lot of, that's where the competition gets a little salty. But the actors themselves, there's so many good people at Penhurst, so many good people at 13th Hour, Field of Screams. They're always Frankie shouting me out. Like I can't speak enough good about all the other haunts. They've always showed us respect. So
Yeah, you would think that with you think with the business like that, it's naturally competitive. It's like or they'll send their people over. You may not know who they are, but they might send people over with a camera, and they might
oh
be
yeah.
taking pictures inside your haunts. Let's see why are they doing so well? Let's go over. Let's send some people over there, and then they
Certain
take pictures.
trailers look similar to our trailers now. Ooh, certain lighting. Yeah, like it happens. You take inspiration from other people. I guess you could say flattery.
Uh, let's see. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it, Rich. Thanks for coming in. Let's see. Spooky says it's difficult being an owner and being a scare actor. Oh, it's different being an owner and a scare actor. Yes. Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. Um, let's see. Andre mentions competition is healthy for sure. There's nothing better than learning from others and acknowledging their work above board. Above board, I 100% agree with that.
For
But
sure.
there are some people that come in that aren't like that. They're coming in to steal your business. They're coming in now, they're coming in to, or even more unethical is to come up there and they do offer more money to you, to try to offer you a deal. No, and that's not right either. If it, to
No.
sit there you want to do that, then especially during the season or whatnot. If you want to, and then you get the offer, and then you have to deal with it. What do I do with that? Well, I'm gonna tell my owner exactly what has happened. I'm not saying to him, I'm telling you this for because I'm expecting anything. I'm just letting you know that this did happen, and I want you to be aware of it. That so and so down the road came over and offered me more money. I'm your guy. I'm here. I'm here for you. But I want to let you know because believe me, if they went over, they offered you more money, they offered somebody else the same thing. They're doing it elsewhere.
This
And to
happens a
me,
lot. Happens a lot more than I thought it did when I started talking to more people. There's a whole, a poaching industry behind the scenes trying to get some actors.
yeah. I mean, that's part of being a celebrity, so to speak. People know who you are. People come to the haunt in Brighton because of you, because of Frankie. So that's where the business comes. Believe me, if you doubt that, take a day off. Take a couple of days off where they sit there and say, "Well, Frankie's not going to be here," or put up a sign that says, "Due to some circumstances," watch how many people turn away.
I missed a
I,
couple of days last year because I moved away, so I have a little longer commute, and people were like, "Where's Frankie?" in line, and my other queue line actors were like, "He's been a bad guy. He's locked up. He's in there. He's in solitary," and they were like, "We came here for
yeah.
Frankie." Or they have their T-shirts on. They have Sharpies in their hands. I'm like, "What the hell is going on?" But I love it. I can't say that like it's not welcome because this is what I wanted to do ever since I was young. I want to create worlds. I want to be an actor. And having crazy fans is part of the territory, I guess.
What has been some of the most craziest things that you've seen at the haunt, or better yet, when was the first time that anybody recognized you out of your makeup outside the haunt?
I was in not Home Depot. What's that? I was in a Staples, and I was walking around Staples, and I had the Brighton Asylum shirt on, and I was buying an office chair, and it was just after Halloween season had ended. So I think it was like November sometime. And somebody's like, "Oh, I love Brighton Asylum," and I turned around and I was like, "Oh yeah, I work there." And they were like, "Are you Frankie?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, and they pulled out their phone and they showed me a picture that we just took like 2 weeks ago, and I'm like, "Oh my god!" Like the world, it's so small.
It is.
Staples, like, huh?
It is. It is. It's a really weird feeling, isn't it? Because
Yeah.
you're just out there. Yeah, that happened to me a couple of times. But I remember the first time it happened to me, I was like, I didn't know I didn't know how to react. I was like, I heard someone say, "Hey, Patrick," and I'm going like, "Yeah." He goes, "Hey, you're the guy that books the shows at this club I worked at." And I'm going like, "Yeah, yeah, I do." "Oh man, you guys, you do a really good job," and this and that. And it's like, how did you know who the hell I was?
It's a
Because
little intrusive, right? Like it kind of
huh?
makes you feel like, "Whoa," for a second.
It does, it
Yeah.
does. I know that my coworker Jimmy. I know that he used to have a hard time when he would go out on a date with his girlfriend. He'd be out there he have out there eating dinner or what have you, or another show or something, and people would see him and they come up to him and they start talking to him like they're their best friends. And it's like
Yep.
I'm
Who
with
are you?
I'm on a date right now. I'm on a date right now. Maybe we could talk during business hours. Oh, here, let me get you this press kit. I'm eating dinner with my girlfriend now. So it
That
is weird.
reminds me of something really quick. I wasn't sure what to name my character. Like, it wasn't always supposed to be Frankie because that's my real life name. And when I was getting interviewed one day, they were like, "And you are?" And I was just out on queue line for like the first week. And I'm like, "I'm Frankie." So now, people that I don't know, not only is that my real name, that's my character's name. So people are yelling, "Frankie!" And I think that they mean me in my personal life half the time. So it's this weird feeling that I'm constantly like wrestling with inside.
That must be sort of hard though, answering the both, your real life name and also your haunt name. Uh, uh, Andre mentions let's see, let's see, a spooky saying that Frankie will never leave Brighton. I heard that a spooky opened up a third spot on the spooky hearse, going around the country. exploring haunts. I heard that there's a room. I heard there's room in the hearse for you, Frankie. You
There
know,
is room. I could be a guest hearse
I
mate.
heard they can they can fit three inside the spooky hearse. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
All
You know,
right.
that's right.
It could be me, Patrick, and somebody from the viewers. One more.
You know what? You know, we would tear it up. I would have to draft Hobbs though. We have to draft Hobbs. Hobbs would go. Um, Maybe we can find a way to bring Andre with us too, just in case there's people getting crazy. Because Andre can take care of business. Let's see. Yeah, some fans are really crazy. It's unreal. So let's talk a little bit more about fandom. We talked about meeting you for the first time, having a good time. Hey, thanks for taking the picture with you, whatnot. Uh, how are some of the have you ever had to deal with some extreme fans that maybe want to be maybe they want Frankie a little bit too much, sending you weird letters or fan mail or bringing you cookies at the haunt? Have you ever had to deal with any overzealous fans?
I've had almost everything. I've had people bring me baked goods, donuts, cupcakes. I've had people try to give me paraphernalia. I said, "Where did you get that from? I don't want that." I've had people try to give me uh, soda cans that are opened already. I'm not going to drink from your drink, guys. I've had people give me bobbleheads, like fan made bobbleheads. Shout out, love you, thank you. Um, what else? People tell me to sign on their body. And I say, well, it's a Sharpie. Like, are you sure? Like, they're sign me anywhere you want, Frankie. Anywhere you want. Like,
Okay. Point.
I've had an issue where there was three, I think they were tourists, probably from Europe or New York somewhere, because they looked like they were like housewife-ish, and they were all in leather outfits, and they were all like model-esque, and they groped me. And I was like, what the heck? Like, if the roles were reversed, people would be like, ah, but the women, I'm like, what the hell? Luckily, they were escorted out. But I'm like, you can't be too sure what anybody will do out there.
No, no, you really can't. No, I agree with that. I agree with that. But I will say this: that if someone ever comes up to you and offers you a Black Phillip from the Witch Funko Pop, please take it, and then get a hold of me.
I gotcha. I gotcha. Look, Patrick needs this.
Now, how about acting for real? Here you are. You've been doing scare acting for a few years. Um, you ever thought about going and doing it for real? You ever thought about acting on in a theater or in front of an indie film? There's plenty of indie filmmakers going around there on the East Coast. You ever thought about taking a shot at it?
For sure. I'm actually thinking about it right now. The last 2 years, I started taking voice acting lessons on like Zoom from a school in Texas, and they're right next to Funimation, which is where like all the anime is produced. So I have like a slight connection with that, which I want to branch more into the voice acting. If because it's easier to film and record voices nowadays than ever before. So the work is easily available. So I'm thinking of dipping my toes more into some voice acting. But TV and film is still a huge option. I was at an acting studio called ATC Studios. It's right next to Brighton, actually, same town. I was going there for 3 years. I was doing monologue study, film study, scene partner classes. What else did I do? Some other improv one, improv two. So I've been, brushing up on some classic acting training too.
Now, I know you mentioned about the voice acting and I'm thinking, now voice actors are going to be battling pretty soon, and much sooner than we anybody would like. They're going to be battling pretty soon with AI voices. Um, as far as your character Frankie goes, what have you done to protect it? Have you trademarked your character so it's 100% you? It's yours. You own it.
Yeah, so it is. He is completely trademarked.
Good man. Good man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
Gotta ask those questions.
Yep.
Because it's like if it would have been no, it would have been like, well, as soon as we're done with this interview, you best fix that. Because
Yeah.
yeah,
Sorry.
no, I'm glad you got it. I'm glad you got it. I mean,
Yeah, no, because it's weird because I mean not a lot of people think about sticking with one character. So a lot of the haunt industry doesn't really need to worry about that. But I guess Q line actors that have a big fandom and a following that kind of evolve organically, like mine did, you kind of have to worry about that stuff.
Yeah, you do. Um, so, have you been to any have you what have you done as an are you have you acted like an ambassador like you're doing tonight? You're an ambassador for the haunt. You're out there, you're doing press like you have, and what's that like for you? Do you ever get, does Rich ever get phone calls saying, "I'd like to talk to one of your scare actors," I like, and he says, "Well, I want you to talk to Frankie," and next thing you know, you're doing an interview like you're doing here with me tonight. Um, what's it like for you to be considered an ambassador for what you do?
I'm gonna say it again. It's surreal. I don't really know another word to describe it, just because I've kind of always wanted this growing up and being like, well, who knows if I'll be able to be in a profession or get on that level where people will start to recognize. And now that it's starting to happen, and I've had Spooky Kisses, I've had Halloween Haunts 365, Haunts and Horror, Haunt Informer, all these interviews that people are reaching out to me. Ritual. I don't know if I could say this, but we did like a little thing for the Ellen show a couple years ago, like an audition that never really made it, but he reached out to me and it was like, what the hell? Like, oh my God, this is crazy. So it is something, I welcome it. I'm really serious about it. I love being creative. So anytime they're like, do this, talk to somebody, be in character and do this, or Spooky Kisses needs me to do some drone footage and be weird in the parking lot. Like, I'm all for it. I'm all for everything like that. I love it.
Yeah, I mean I think it's fantastic. I mean, it's free publicity. Your character is is so well known. It's free publicity. People come here. People know that what to expect. They expect a good time. But how about this? When you first started out, you auditioned for the owner. You auditioned for Rich and some other peers. Now, how are you doing that? Are you doing that now? Are you now in the seat where you're with Rich and you're starting to audition the talent that's coming through the door? And how are some of it? How has the business changed both for the best and for the worst during the 10 years you worked? What are some things that you like, and there's some things that you wish could be improved on?
Let's start with some things that I really like. I really like how serious the newer actors are, like the newer people that are auditioning now than they were when I was auditioning. When I was auditioning like almost 10 years ago, it was really like every 1 out of 10 people would have that spark. Like, wow, like they're into horror. They get it, they get it. Nowadays, almost everybody that auditions, they want to be there. They know why they're there. They have horror interests. They have a talent that they want to do. Like, people are more well equipped nowadays for being a new haunt actor. And I want to say again, it's probably because of the internet and how easily accessible stuff are. People just TikTok stuff, YouTube things, whenever you want. If you want to know, how do I apply a latex thing? How do I be scary? You just type it in and stare at a screen, and the knowledge is there. What what I don't what I don't like, um, I'm a little screwed up though. I wish the auditions could be like a little bit more cutthroat, but I don't want to scare people away from the industry. I think that's me being a stickler because I am like on another, not level, but I look at things from a different point of view, being on Q Line and having like merch now. So when I see people that aren't serious about stuff, like if they wear, like, you're gonna be in costume and you're wearing bright Nike shoes. Like, dude, we're gonna have to like cover those shoes. Like, what are you doing? Like stuff
Right.
like that. That's what gets me.
Yeah. Yeah, you want an actor to sell out. I mean, you want them to sell out for the role. You want them to show up on time, be dependable, which I think has already helped. I mean, now that scare actors are being paid, that
Yeah,
really does help. Now
helps
you
a
don't have to
little, a
worry
little
about them.
bit.
a little bit, but still,
Yeah,
still a little bit, but still, it's a lot better than nothing. You know,
definitely.
here's a coupon for a cheeseburger at McDonald's. Thanks for coming in. You know,
Better
it's
than the
like
cold slice of pizza that Spooky was eating.
unless it's deep dish. If it's deep
Yes,
dish,
yes. Then we'll eat
maybe
it at 2 a.m. I don't care. It's cold. It's going in.
Oh, so I'm with you about that too. I do. You want to have a sense of professionalism. Even though it is fun and it
Yeah.
is, and we're here to
And I'll give it.
entertain people.
Sometimes people don't like they're innocent about it and they're like, "Oh my god, I had no idea." And that's totally fine. Like you're
Mhm.
allowed to be new and have mistakes and ask questions. It's the people that come in and they're like, "What do you mean, man? What do you mean I can't wear this?" It's like, "Dude, you're supposed to be a patient. You're a doctor and the doctor doesn't wear Nikes and a gold chain." Like, like I don't know.
Unless you're in
That's just
Detroit,
yeah,
unless you're in
yeah.
Detroit.
Yeah. Well, we are in a little rough neighborhood. So.
Do you ever get any trouble like that? Do you ever get like a large gangs of teenagers come in there and they're loud and abrasive? How do you sort of discourage them from coming through the gate? I heard you mention earlier that you have security, but uh, you know, does that happen very often where you had to turn away a group because maybe they've been drinking out in the parking lot or having some of that paraphernalia?
Yeah, it's few and far between when they turn away like the drunk groups or the people that are just really, really extremely belligerent. Like it doesn't really happen too often. What
Good.
does happen is the groups of young teens, the 17 to I guess 20-year-olds that think that they're really tough. And just opening night, me and my uncle, he plays my uncle character, he's the butcher, Steven. Shout out Steven. We were basically going toe to toe with like four people like threatening us outside. Like we didn't break character. We were just like my uncle was being like, "So you're gonna tell me you're not afraid of anything, but you paid for my lunch tonight?" Like he was just letting them have it. Like, we got your money already. Like you don't need to say anything, dude. Like you paid for your ticket, you could just leave. Like but we had to hold our own and they get right in our face. I mean, security's right there. The last 4 years, security has stepped it up extremely. Like we have metal detectors, they have armed security. Like I feel really safe. If we didn't have that, I probably wouldn't do it this crazily or I wouldn't be as confident in like the act.
Right, right.
Yeah.
That's a damn shame, though. You have to have metal detectors and armed guards, though, right?
Yeah, it is a shame.
That truly is scary, isn't it?
It is. It kind of adds to the atmosphere. It's like you better not have anything because you're going in an asylum.
Yeah, I mean, that's a little bit bonkers. Um,
Hmm.
Tell us about what are some of the things that you could, what are some other things that you feel like if you're owner of if you're owner, let's say Rich gave you the haunt for a week. It said, "Do go crazy, whatever you want to do." What are some of the things that you would do on your own to pop up the haunt? As far as
Uh,
maybe gag improvements, effects improvements, new
so
set.
I really was a huge fan of our contact nights. There's a lot of old Brighton fans that know what I'm talking about. You would wear a glow stick necklace. Every night you could opt in for one or not. And if you had the glow stick on, that means any of the actors can touch you, grab you, abduct you. I love that so much. All those people that were being jerks outside normally would not talk at all when they're wearing that. People that act tough without that, once you put that necklace on them, ooh, because now the actors could manhandle you when you say something to them. I miss that so much. It added another element of like fear. We wouldn't really go too crazy. We wouldn't really go too rough. But just walking next to, Cheryl, who's in line, and she's like, "Oh, I don't want to be here," and you just go like, bloop, and you just brush her a little bit. And now she's like, "Oh my god, he touched my ear." Like it just
Right.
adds so much to everything.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be you don't do that anymore?
No, I think we stopped either because of COVID or because of it's just too annoying on the insurance stuff, and Rich would just rather, it's I totally get that. I get it.
So what haunt now? What haunt now? We all know that Brighton is top of the food chain. But what are two or three haunts that if I came to you and I said I came over and watched your haunt, I really enjoyed it. Um, but what I'm going to go to another haunt. What three haunts would you recommend that I go adventure? Show some love. Show us a little love to some of the other haunts that you yourself would go to.
I would okay, without a doubt, definitely Penhurst. I've never been there. I've only seen things on YouTube. I've watched full walkthroughs. I've watched live concerts. They are awesome. They're our asylum spiritual brother or sister, if you want to call them that. They're also on the haunt tour with us this year. So any of the other haunters from around the country, you're gonna hit Penhurst and Brighton with us this year. Um, I think also Field of Screams, all their people there are constantly showing us so much love. I've also watched their Spooky Kisses episode, and I think they're awesome. The whole staff, all the owners, everybody's so awesome there. They're all friendly, and they're always they're always liking stuff. So I can't say anything bad about them either. A third one, hmm, maybe Dark Hour.
That's a great name.
Yeah.
What is the formal name for yours? I keep calling it Brighton, but I'm sure it's more than Brighton.
Yeah,
Is
it's
it
Brighton Asylum.
Brighton Asylum? Okay, okay.
Yep.
Now, I got a few more questions here, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Speaking as a hot actor, and we're talking all things spooky and what have you. So, what's your stance on supernatural stuff? Are you into the paranormal yourself? Have you ever been on any paranormal adventures? I'm
Yes.
sure people get invited. I'm sure they invite you out to those things all the time.
Well, so Brighton, actually, at the end of every show, we have a ghost paranormal tour that takes place in the whole entire haunt when we're done operating. So I got to see a little bit of that last year, and they have the EVP device. They have I forgot what the other device was called. The one that you could literally just keep recording stuff, and then when you play it back, there's just weird broken up anomalies on it. They have all these other things that make the dots glow and it lines up on the wall when a spirit passes by. I definitely believe in the supernatural. Um, you know, I definitely believe in Jesus too. So there's an afterlife, man. Like you can't deny it.
No, I believe there's an afterlife for sure as well. Yeah, this can't be all. Can't be all there is.
No.
In this crazy universe.
Just
Uh,
because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not real. I mean, I can't see the air that I'm breathing doesn't mean it's not there, man.
no, you're absolutely right. So what are your what's in your future? Where do you see yourself in where do you see yourself in 3 years?
In 3 years, hopefully, I'm still doing some stuff at Brighton. Like I love Brighton. I never want to really leave, but I really want to pick up on some TV and film stuff. I want to get, maybe a reoccurring role on like a television show. I was obsessed with The Walking Dead forever, and it would have been so cool to be like a surviving character that like has back and forth dialogue with other people. I just feel like playing Frankie at Brighton for so long, I have this weird edge that I can play for certain characters. Like, I don't know, like almost like a Stephen King grit, like a grime, like a weird grime. So
Sure.
I don't know. I feel like I could bring that to the table.
I think you can too. I think you do very well. I think you should try it. I think you should, other than voice acting, I think you should try to I think you should try to get in front of the camera and do some acting.
For sure.
There's a lot of production out there on the East Coast. It wouldn't be very hard for you to find find to start going through the audition process, or to find
Definitely.
or actually people casting you based on who you are. That's just something to explore. I think you should explore it. I'm going to ask the chat if they will have any questions for our guest.
Ooh, what's
Yeah,
up, chat?
do you have any questions for Frankie?
Thanks for joining us, guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. And
Yeah,
again,
heck yes.
shout out to Spooky for giving me the heads up and making this happen.
Yep.
Uh, uh,
Shout out to
always
Rich
out.
for building everything and giving me a job. Love you, Rich.
Was that Rich earlier? Was that your owner? I saw in the chat.
Was his last name with the G? Because I know there's a lot of Riches.
I thought that was I don't know why I thought it was somebody else. But there were two. I think there's two Riches that came through here.
I know Spooky has a Rich.
Yeah, I know Spooky
Yep.
has one. But I wasn't sure if there's another one that I just missed. I have a Tom Baker in here.
Ooh,
He plays a Doctor Who.
Mr. Baker.
Yeah, I wonder if I knew that when he first walked in. I'm going like, the first thing I saw when I saw him, going like, oh, it's Doctor Who. It's the Doctor I grew up on. It's the he put down War of the Haunts. Meta Lab Entertainment Group. I do believe that is Rich from Spooky. I believe that's him. Let's see.
Oh yeah, Rich.
Yeah, I'm seeing if there's. I'm gonna see if there's the other Riches in here, so I can say hi. Well, if not, he can watch the replay. But shout out to Rich. You should have been here live. But you guys are. Are you guys open? Right? You're open today, right? You mean?
Not today. We're open Friday, Saturday. Yeah, and then the following week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Wow. Then the grind begins. Like I said, I just felt like I had to hurry up. If I would have known this, I would have hurried up a little bit quicker.
It's all right.
I was thinking to myself, going like, if I don't get him in this week, the first week of the show, I'm not getting him in because it's spooky season and he'll be working.
Thank you again for reaching out. Like I was just randomly checking and I saw your message. I was like, oh my God, I need to message this guy back.
Yeah, no problem. Like I said, I expected your schedule to be slammed. I'm glad I was not disappointed. It's awesome. And what I'll do is like if people wanted to get a Frankie T-shirt, how do we do that? Can they get it online?
So I don't think you can get them online yet. I know the gift shop just has like an overflow of T-shirts this year. I've seen a lot of them, so they have more than they did last year. So eventually, I'm pretty sure they're going to go online. I hope so.
Well, if they do, come back, reach out to me, let me know, so I can put the link to people who get merchandise. They can put it in with our interview.
That'd be great.
I want to thank you so much, Frankie, for coming out tonight and hanging out. This has been an absolute delight. I had a blast talking to you. So much fun. I think I'd love to see your haunt.
Please come visit, come watch our trailers, watch anything you want.
Now, I hope not, but is any of the well, Spooky did your I'll put that episode down in the link as well. Spooky's episode for your show. I think it's on Tubi.
It's on Tubi and Amazon Prime. It's season 2, episode 3.
Yeah, I'll put that. I'll put the link down in there so people can go there and check it out. But thank you so much, and we're going to update his information when we get it for T-shirts, and we'll also put a link in for you can see Frankie in full makeup doing his thing over at Brighton Asylum. All right, that is it for us. Tomorrow night we will be back with our very own Kyle Curtis Flett. He is another YouTube channeler, another cinephile channel, and he and I will be sitting there chopping it up tomorrow night about horror movies and hospital food and whatever else we can think of. We'll be here at 8:00. And what is that? Oh, is that a mouse?
It's a Pokemon.
Oh, it's Mewtwo. All right.
And then I have my Attack on Titan figure.
Oh, I got the series of that.
Me too.
Oh man, yeah, I got the videos. I got that on DVD. Yeah.
Masterpiece.
Oh man, that's a crazy ass show. Crazy show. But no Black Phillip though, right? No Black Phillip.
No, okay. Sorry. Thank you for picking my brain, Patrick. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Stay right where you're at, and to the chat, I'll see you guys tomorrow night at 8:00, when Kyle Curtis Flett will be here with us. Talk to you soon. Have a great night, everybody.
Bye, chat.